Hey everyone, welcome to Spiral Emanations. I'm Sky Gracely, joining you from Los Angeles tonight. If you're new, we're basically your cosmic curiosity hotline, that late night place for all things strange, mysterious, or a little bit cosmic.
And I'm Reese Sparrows, in London, the land of grey skies and even weirder news. Hi Sky, good to be here, and a big hello to anyone finding us for the first time. We're really glad you made it.
Glad to be here too. I tried something new this week and survived to tell the tale. Got a minute for a food adventure?
Of course, lay it on us, Sky.
So, Hot Pot in the San Gabriel Valley, over on the east side of LA. It's one of those spots where you pick your own broth and toppings and cook it all at the table. Super fun, but sometimes the menu translation is a little creative. I saw something called Third Eye Opening Mushroom Broth, and under toppings, wakey wakey mushrooms. I thought that just sounded, I don't know, full of good energy. Of course, I ordered it. Big mistake. It was so spicy, I was sweating halfway through the first bite. I thought, okay, maybe this is the kind of third eye that just cries a lot. I tried to do a terror pull for my friends while sniffling, and then I sneezed like really loud at the table. If you ever hear a mysterious sneeze echo in the background, by the way, that's all thanks to Brian. He's our sound wizard and producer. He makes sure moments like that don't end up in the final cut. Thank you, Brian.
Brian is the best. But Sky, next time you see wakey wakey mushrooms on the menu, maybe ask if it's more supernatural or just super spicy. Did you get any psychic visions? Or just a run on paper napkins?
Honestly, my third eye only saw my own reflection. Nose streaming. Lesson learned, read the fine print on the soup.
That's nothing. Wait until you hear about my new gadget. I was out on Oxford Street over the weekend. For those who haven't been, that's London's big shopping street. And right now, it's already full of Christmas lights, even though it's not even November. I was wearing my embroidered blue cape, yes Sky, the cape, and got drawn to a little booth selling something called a biofield balancer. It's basically a stick, copper and quartz, wrapped in blue blinking lights. The vendor claimed it would realign my electromagnetic chakras.
I want to bring that to my crystals. Maybe it'll finally get them all charged up at the same time.
I'm beginning to think it just made me more visible. I caught my own reflection, a guy in a cape, holding a glowing stick, surrounded by Christmas decorations. No one even blinked. London, right?
I'm imagining you floating outside a department store, just gently orbiting the Christmas tree.
No levitation yet, but maybe next time.
Sounds like we're both swimming in weird energy this week. Between mystical soup mishaps and your quest for high-tech enlightenment, I guess that's the territory when you host a show about the cosmic and strange. But honestly, out in the solar system right now, the universe itself is about to out-weird even our weeks.
Yeah, the real cosmic news this week makes us seem totally normal. There are planets, objects, and lights out there making big headlines. It's getting wild out past Neptune, Sky.
So, let's get into it. What's actually going on at the edge of the solar system? Here's the first big headline. Scientists at Princeton found something pretty incredible. Reese, did you catch the story about a new trans-Neptunian object?
Yeah, a bit. That's the one with the absurdly long orbit, right? What's the scoop there?
Right, so it's called 2017 of 2017. Basically, it's a big object they found way out past Pluto, like really far. The research team, Sihao Cheng, Jiaxuan Li, and Eritas Yang at Princeton, spotted this huge thing looping around the sun on the most stretched out path. And when I say far, I mean its farthest point from the sun, that's called aphelion, is about 1,600 times farther out than Earth. Its closest, or perihelion, is still 44 times farther than we are.
1,600 times the Earth's sun distance? That's wild. Most people think of Pluto as the edge, but this thing blows it out of the water.
Yeah, and the wild part, 2017 of 2017 takes about 25,000 years to finish just one loop around the sun. The only way scientists can explain a path like that is if there's something big that we haven't found yet, throwing objects around out there. That's where Planet 9 comes in.
So, is this making Planet 9 look less like science fiction now?
Exactly. Planet 9 is that hypothetical giant planet astronomers think could still be hiding out beyond Neptune. No one spotted it for sure, but each new weird object astronomers find, it just adds weight to the idea. And this discovery came right from Princeton and the Institute for Advanced Study, so this isn't just internet speculation.
Absolutely fascinating. And if you thought Planet 9 was wild, just wait. Things get even stranger when you look beyond our own solar system. The next story is about something that's actually come from another star entirely. The Atlas telescope in Chile just picked up a huge object known as 3I/8S, and it's, get this, about 20 kilometers across. That's bigger than Manhattan.
Wait, it's the third time ever we've found something actually coming in from another solar system, right?
That's right. Only 3 known interstellar visitors caught in our system so far. But what makes 3I/ATLAS extra strange is its flight path. It's swinging close by Mars, Venus, and Jupiter on the same trip. The odds of that are, honestly, almost impossible. Think 1 in 20,000 by some estimates.
Wow, sounds like the universe is showing off. But there's more, right? Dr. Avi Loeb at Harvard is suggesting it might not even be a natural object.
Yeah, Dr. Loeb is a pretty well-known astrophysicist, and he's suggested that the way 3I/Atlas glows and its super-odd orbit just don't fit typical comets. He's asked if it might be something artificial, like a probe, sent to check us out. Most scientists still think it's a natural object, but you can hear the curiosity in astronomy circles rising fast. By the way, its closest approach to the Sun will be later this month, and NASA and Harvard are both watching it pretty closely.
Next up, we're going to shift our focus a bit, sort of back to Earth, but not quite on solid ground yet. This story actually takes us just above our heads, to Earth's orbit. Cosmos 4A2 was a Soviet Venus probe launched in 1972. Instead of making it to Venus, it got stuck orbiting Earth for 53 years because of a rocket malfunction. That's longer than some satellites are ever designed to last.
Can you imagine? Half a century, just circling around, almost forgotten.
Totally. And it only just re-entered the atmosphere last week. Cosmos 482 was built to take the heat on Venus, so it's basically made of titanium, a real tank. That tank helped it survive re-entry, at least partly. Where did it land? We aren't totally sure yet. Credit to the European Space Agency, US Space Command, and the Russians. Everyone tried tracking it, but it kind of slipped in under the radar.
A lost probe finally comes home after 50 years. There's always a new twist with space history, isn't there?
And for the grand finale, this next story had people all over Europe looking up in amazement. In case you haven't seen the photos online, right after a recent SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch, a classified US government mission, a mysterious blue spiral actually appeared in the night sky, spinning above Europe for about 6 minutes.
Here's the science part. When the rocket's upper stage was finished, it spun and vented extra fuel. That fuel froze into ice crystals and reflected sunlight, making a swirling blue spiral across the sky. People spotted it from Croatia, the UK, all over Europe. Of course, social media instantly went into "it's a portal" and "aliens coming" mode. But the real story is just cool physics.
Those images were so beautiful, though. Have we seen things like this before?
Not often, but it can happen every few years if the conditions line up. There was a famous blue spiral in Norway back in 2009, so not one of a kind, but definitely rare.
So, in just 1 week, we've got a possible new planet, a mysterious interstellar visitor, a ghost probe coming home after half a century, and a genuine sky spiral lighting up Europe. I'm amazed!
It's like the universe decided to throw us a parade. Sometimes, space really knows how to get our attention.
So, that brings us to the really juicy bit. Let's get a little help making sense of all this. I'm super excited to welcome Dr. Lyle Krantz from New Pangea Chemical College. He researches the mysterious phrases and strange fragments that keep popping up in history and culture, almost like cosmic post-it notes showing up after major space events. Dr. Krantz, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Reese. It's a pleasure, well, maybe more of an occupational hazard, for me to be here. Basically, I go looking for lines that don't belong. Old proverbs, song scraps, things you might find on a Babylonian tablet or in a Cold War memo. They resurface, almost word for word, in times when reality itself seems to wobble.
So, you mean like the same weird phrase shows up after some big, unexplained event?
Exactly. Little glitches in the record, right after we get sky phenomena or odd discoveries.
Okay, but here's what I want to know. You actually see a real connection between all these astronomical headlines? Or is it more that, once you know to look, everything seems connected?
That's fair, Reese. I wondered the same thing at first, but the more I studied, the more these repeated patterns stuck out. Some ancient traditions actually try to explain it by treating space like a giant cosmic audit, a periodic review of reality itself. In certain myths, there's even a boundary, sometimes called the Ninth Gate, out at the far edge of our solar system, where this audit supposedly takes place. These stories get even stranger. They describe ancient record keepers, the Archivists of the Dark Ledger, almost like cosmic accountants tallying every anomaly. And here's the wildest part. Some legends weave Earth's own creatures, like dolphins and whales, into the story, saying their ancient mischief disrupted the system and made the cosmic audit prone to unexpected bursts or glitches. So every time that audit process stumbles, you see weird astronomical events, and those odd recurring phrases start bubbling up in our culture.
Hang on, did you just say dolphins basically broke the universe's reset button, and now we're all getting cosmic audit paperwork tossed down from space?
That's about the shape of it. Every attempt to hit that reset bumps up against memory, randomness, and just a little mischief. So yes, signals keep showing up, and they trickle down everywhere, even in the news.
But, I mean, seriously, outside of stories and old legends, do you have any concrete proof? Was there one moment when you knew this wasn't just a cool story?
There was. Here's what knocked me sideways. Years ago, I was translating a Babylonian dream tablet, and I stumbled across a line. The Black Gate audits, but the deep remembers. Odd little phrase. I made a note and moved on.
That's pretty direct for an ancient proverb.
Fast forward a decade. I'm working through an old Soviet radio manual. Frequencies and codes, the dry kind of stuff. And there it is again. Same phrase, word for word. I thought, this can't be a coincidence. And from there, every time I checked, I found it, or something like it, in Basque lullabies, in old Mandarin sea poems, even in Cold War memos, always right after a strange cosmic event. That's when I realized something bigger is using our stories as a ledger.
That's honestly kind of blowing my mind. Universe as bureaucracy wasn't on my cosmic bingo card.
It almost sounds like mythologies were hiding the paperwork in plain sight. I could ask a dozen more questions, easily.
Okay, Dr. Krantz, I'm still trying to wrap my head around these phrases showing up all over. It doesn't sound like just a coincidence anymore. Can you break it down for us? How do these massive space events end up echoing in things like proverbs, songs, maybe even memes today?
Great question, Sky. And yeah, these echoes don't just linger in ancient ruins or dusty books. Sometimes it's a tablet, sometimes a radio manual, sometimes it's, well, a meme. For example, there's this Sumerian proverb. Roughly, the black door accounts for all beneath the waves. Spooky bit of poetry, right?
Definitely spooky. It's amazing how those ancient texts capture a vibe that still feels eerie today.
That's so strange. Hearing that, I start to wonder, is there a moment in history when these phrases and cosmic events didn't just echo each other, but actually changed how people lived or thought on a huge scale?
Yeah, definitely. Look at the Tower of Babel. In both the Sumerian tablets and the Book of Genesis, you get this sudden scramble. Nobody can understand anyone else. Both mentions signs in the sky, like unusual alignments or comets. And if you compare the words priests and poets wrote back then, they echo the audit proverbs almost exactly, right as society basically hits a reset button.
So the same kind of language turns up whenever something huge happens in the sky? That's wild.
Exactly. It's like the universe leaves a post-it note in our language every time reality gets a jolt.
And does this show up in more recent times, like the Cold War isn't that far back?
It does. Let's take Cosmos 482 as a great example, because this is where you see a mix of facts and rumors blending together. After the probe got trapped in orbit, stories began circulating over the years, nothing officially confirmed, but intriguing nonetheless. Some claimed the Soviets looked for help beyond just technology, even consulting psychics or asking engineers to encode strange, almost ritual-like phrases in the lander's instructions. It sounds wild, and there's no concrete proof, but the interesting part is some specialists have found patterns in code or radio chat that seem weirdly similar to those ancient audit phrases. There are even unconfirmed accounts that Western intelligence picked up messages echoing Sumerian ritual language, all happening around the same time as a notable sky event. Whether real or just legend, it fits the larger pattern people keep noticing.
So these audit phrases, those repeating lines and sayings you found echoed through history, aren't just old superstitions. Do you actually see them show up today, like after some kind of big sky event?
All the time. Take the recent blue spiral over Europe. Within a day, the phrase, "The Black Gate opens at Spiral's heart," popped up online in at least 7 languages. No one really seemed to know the source. Some users even joked about it. But as soon as a big anomaly happens in the sky, those echoes just explode across the digital world, just as they did on stone or paper before.
Okay, so for anyone listening, and maybe starting to worry, what does it actually mean that these weird phrases suddenly show up everywhere? Is it just an odd pattern, or is it like the universe's way of telling us we're up for review?
I don't think it's a random pattern, Sky. It's like a watermark stamped onto our stories, our headlines, even our memes. Every time one of these echoes shows up after something in the sky, it means the cosmic audit is leaking into culture. It's a sign our current chapter isn't closed. Not yet, anyway.
That makes me think of flood myths, like the Sumerian story or the one in Genesis. Both have a giant flood right after a sign from the sky, and both mention some kind of cosmic accounting. It really does sound like every big astronomical event brings the same kind of audit warning.
That's right. No matter the era, ancient Sumer, medieval Europe, or today, you keep seeing the same thing right after news of a new planet, a weird light in the sky, or a rogue space probe. Those audit warning phrases resurface in all kinds of places. It's a repeating pattern, as if every big event leaves a mark in our culture's language.
So if I'm following, it's not just legend. This ongoing cosmic audit you're talking about seems to run right through all of history and even leaks into today's memes and hashtags. What else could we spot in science or culture if we just start looking closer?
You know what really stands out to me with this new when you start talking about the science of some sort of honorary pattern, which is promising no more than some kind of work. Think Noah and the Ark, or Utnapishtim from the Epic of Gilgamesh, or Manu in Indian myth.
Right, the whole "a disaster comes from the sky" thing. But I feel like you're connecting space headlines to really old stories. Is that actually a pattern?
Yeah, because if you look, a lot of those stories start with something big happening in the sky. A comet, the meteor shower. People saw weird stuff up there and took it as a sign the world was about to change, or that some cosmic judge was keeping score. And now we find another bizarre object way out there, and it almost feels like living inside one of those myths.
But can you help me and our listeners put that side by side? Because jumping from new planet with a funky orbit to ancient flood equals cosmic audit is a lot. Dr. Krantz, are there clear examples of language, maybe even a phrase, that shows up both in ancient stuff and like memes or posts after these discoveries now?
Oh, definitely. Here's a really good one. In ancient Babylonian omen tablets, which, for background, are these records where they linked sky events with earthly change, there's a phrase. It comes out to something like, "When the eye tallies the world, the waters rise."
So the eye is like some star or comet up above just watching everything?
Exactly. A big red star or a comet, anything that looks like it's staring down at the Earth. Here's what's wild. Right after they saw that eye in the sky, the phrase pops up in their writing. And last week, when everyone was posting about this new TNO and that spiral from the rocket, I saw people on Twitter and TikTok joking with almost the exact same phrase, like "when the eye tallies," hashtag and all.
That's so uncanny, and it actually reminds me of something in physics. So in quantum mechanics, there's this thing called the observer effect. It means that just by observing something, you can actually change the outcome. So in myths, or in your audit idea, Dr. Krantz, it's almost like when people pay attention to the sky or write these stories, it actually shifts what happens, or maybe how we experience it. Maybe our noticing is part of the process, not just the result.
So let's make it super simple. If someone sees a weird news story or a new meme about judgment or the world resetting right after some big space event, what should they think? Is it just coincidence? Or are people sort of channeling these echoes from the past without realizing it? What do you think, Dr. Krantz?
Great question. And honestly, I wouldn't call it magic, but it's not just random chance either. I've been recording these audit-style phrases for years, and almost every time there's a big space announcement, suddenly they spike in popularity. The same themes pop up. It's like language is echoing the universe, and the universe is echoing us right back. So, I think it's a real pattern you can actually watch happen, not just a fluke.
That gets me thinking about moments in history where language kind of shifts out of nowhere, like after a big eclipse, or a meteor hits, or even when the sun does something wild. Suddenly you get new phrases or ideas showing up in different places at the same time. It's like there's a script or code that gets activated whenever the sky changes.
So maybe the real audit story is happening right in front of us. In the words we use, the memes that go viral, the hashtags that suddenly show up right after something weird in space makes headlines. I wonder what echoes we'll catch next.
You know, putting all these events together, a new world far past Neptune, an interstellar visitor swinging by, Cosmos 482 showing up again, and that giant blue spiral, it sounds like cosmic chaos. But after hearing all this, I feel like we might actually be seeing one of those cosmic audits play out, almost like that old myth of the ninth gate, where everything gets reviewed, is playing out in real time instead of just in legend.
Yeah, like suddenly we're side characters in our own weird space mythology, not just telling old stories about it.
That's exactly it. Every time a major sky event happens, you'll see these strange cut-and-paste phrases pop up all over the place. News sites, social feeds, even in speeches. For instance, Just after that story about the new trans-Neptunian object, 2017 of 2001, made headlines. People around the world started posting phrases like, "The deep remembers," after the audit.
Wait, you mean totally different people just start posting the same weird line out of nowhere?
Exactly. It's like these audit echoes get set loose in the world, totally unplanned. Makes you wonder if the story is leaking straight into the feed.
So if someone listening wants to play detective, what should they look for? What's one sign you'd tell them to watch out for after Big Sky news breaks?
Watch for those odd phrases that crop up everywhere at once, in different places or even languages. If you see the same unusual wording jump from a tweet to a news headline to a comment thread, that's your evidence. It means the audit's leaking through, and anyone can notice it happening.
Like a cosmic game of telephone, I'm so in.
You know, listening to all this about language, echoes, and strange patterns, it makes me wonder if those audit vibes ripple out into the physical world too. Take Cosmos 482. Just when everyone's talking about cosmic events, suddenly we hear about this decades-old satellite making a comeback. I've read about other cases where old satellites, thought to be dead, randomly reappear on trackers after some unusual sky event. Lyle, would you say that's another kind of audit sign? As if the universe sometimes replays parts of its own history, not just in words but in tech.
Absolutely. Think of it as a ripple. The audit opens up and pieces of the past pop back in. A satellite wakes up, an old beacon pings, a decades-old message plays through static. Sometimes I think those ghostly bits are meant to test us, or even to sneak something into the audit. So if you see weird old tech or a lost probe suddenly trending again, that's another clue to watch for.
That's wild. Ghost satellites showing up almost like cosmic sticky notes. And when stories like that start making the rounds, you can see why some people become a little obsessed with tracking these patterns. I've even heard rumors about groups or secret circles who not only watch for cosmic audits, but actually try to predict or maybe even influence when they show up. Lyle, is there truth to that? Are there really people out there trying to interact directly with the cosmic audit? Or is that mostly legend?
And this isn't just fictional speculation, Sky. There really are groups out there. Some are serious researchers, others more like secret societies or folklore fans, quietly watching for these patterns. In fact, rumors have it that certain groups even try to plant audit-style phrases into news articles, blogs, or social media at key moments, right after big cosmic headlines break. There are even people who time their public statements or little rituals to match major sky events, hoping they'll make a difference or send a signal. So, if you start seeing coded messages or odd symbols popping up online, in graffiti, or even web code during those windows, it could be some of them trying to get the audit's attention, or maybe just signaling each other.
So, with everything that's just happened, what should we watch for over the next few weeks? Like, real audit footprints?
I'd say watch for three things. First, the exact same weird phrase popping up everywhere. Second, astronomers suddenly changing what they say about strange objects or orbits, especially right after sky anomalies. And third, some ancient satellite or forgotten piece of tech reappearing in the news right as a big headline drops. If you see all that bunching up, you just might be witnessing the audit in real time.
So, none of us are just on the sidelines. Anyone listening, you can actually spot the audit as it unfolds. Notice the strange phrases, the old tech surfacing after a space story. Those are breadcrumbs. If enough of us pay attention, maybe we're more than just pawns. Maybe unpredictability is our cheat code.
I'm raising my biofield balancer to that. Sky, here's to keeping the cosmic accountants guessing.
Laughs. Cheers. May the audit never see us coming.
Best outcome possible. Art, chaos, memory. Those are the things no audit can erase, memes included.
Dr. Krantz, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was truly fascinating. I wonder if I'll ever look at a repeated hashtag or a weird proverb in quite the same way again.
Thank you both, really. It has always a pleasure to chase these echoing phrases into the weird corners of the universe with company. And if you spot a phrase that gives you day-night zero view after a space story, pay attention. It could be the real thing.
For sure, AN listeners, if any of those show up in your world, please tell us. If you see a recurring meme, a weird proverb, or just something that sounds freshly ancient after a news story, email us or tag us. We love seeing your discoveries. Also, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, subscribe, leave us a review, or send in any stories or cosmic clues you come across. It really helps the show keep spinning. You all find all the ways to reach us in the show notes.
And a big thank you to Brian, our producer and master of all things audio, who makes every episode sound beautiful, all whether you are an old friend or brand new to Spiral Eliminations.
Stay curious, everyone. Keep your eyes open for the odd and uncanny Abbey, because that is where the biggest mysteries start. We are grateful for you, and who knows what echoes you all uncover next. Until next time, keep spiraling.